Hey guys, we're back for some more standard. So I've made an update here to the BOROS CONVOKE deck. Basically fully rebuilt it. Part of the reason was the win rate was kind of going down. Ended up 15 and 10, so 60% win rate. And the basically on the draw was really rough. So I decided I wanted to put in a little bit of removal. I wanted to kind of change things around a little bit and move it away from kind of your standard BOROS CONVOKE deck that has artifacts and has Gleeful Demolition. So I kind of have it as sort of like a hybrid between the traditional BOROS CONVOKE deck and the BOROS Humans deck. So I do have creatures in here that are not humans, which I think are really good fits. And you know, it's still a very aggressive deck, but it's a little bit different. So we do have 21 lands. There are, I believe, 16 red sources here, and then 20 white sources. So we have 1 Sokenzen, 1 Iganjo, 4 Plains, 4 Battlefield Forge, 2 Sundown Pass, and I only wanted 2 because I want to minimize the number of come into play tapped lands that you have. 4 Cavern of Souls, typically we'll name human, and then 1 Secluded Courtyard, kind of is like the 5th Cavern of Souls that just can also name human. And then 3 Myrics that has the ability to produce colored mana for 1 turn, and then 1 Thran Portal. So I really want to make sure that I don't have too many of these because you do pay a life every time that you tap it, so wanted to kind of cut down on that, but I still want to have access to good mana. Part of the reason I only have 1 Secluded Courtyard is because I am running 4 copies of Regal Bunnicorn, which is not a human, and 4 copies of Sanguine Evangelist, which is also not a human, and 4 copies of Ruin Lurker Bat, which is also not a human. So not exactly just straight humans, but I think these are really great cards in this deck because what I noticed was that my mono red deck matchup was just abysmal. It was like 1 in 3. It's like a 25% win rate against mono red. And so I really wanted to find a way to kind of up the game against mono red, bring in some more lifelink. And so that's why I brought in 4 copies of Ruin Lurker Bat. The other thing is, in the traditional or more traditional BOROS CONVOKE deck that I had been running, I was not running 4 copies of Lunarch Veteran. So now we have 4 copies of Veteran, 4 copies of Ruin Lurker Bat, just to help get that life link going early game, which I think is super important against mono red. I do have 2 copies of Warden of the Inner Sky. I wanted to make sure I had at least 10 1-drops, just to kind of get something on the board reliably on turn 1. And this does obviously work really well in a Convoke deck because you have all kinds of creatures and tokens to help power this thing out. But I also think that you don't really need to see more than 1 a game. And there are just other things that I want to fit into those slots. So in the 2-drop slot, we have 3 copies of Get Lost, which I think is really kind of the premier removal that we have in this format right now. If you're in red or white, it deals with anything at instant speed. It does have kind of a minor downside of giving them 2 map tokens. So, you know, if we're not a very aggressive deck, they can kind of get that advantage back over time. But because we are a very aggressive deck, I think that that downside is somewhat minimized. In addition, there are some kind of neat tricks you can do where, you know, if you're in a spot where you have like a Regal Bunnicorn, you can Get Lost one of your own creatures to increase the number of permanents you have in play to buff up your Bunnicorn. I mean, it's a very like uncommon play, but you could potentially do it. You know, or if you need the map tokens for whatever reason, if you have like a summoning sick creature, you can kill your own summoning sick creature if you have extra mana lying around to like push through for like the final points of damage. So there's applications to this. It's not a complete downside. So we have 4 copies of Regal Bunnicorn. Because we have all these tokens, it's going to be huge. 4 copies of Resolute Reinforcements, which pairs really well with Warden of the Inner Sky. It also is really good for Knight Errant of Eos and just kind of going wide in general. 2 copies of Charming Scoundrel. This is kind of like Resolute Reinforcements 5 and 6, essentially. The treasure token that you make also, you know, if you're stuck on land, can help you power out one of your 3-drops. And basically it functions as two pieces of virtual cardboard that you can use to, get your Knight Errant of Eos going. We also have 2 copies of Inti Seneschal of the Sun, and I think this is really great in this deck because A, it can give like your cards like Adeline Trample, which is really great. It's also just like an engine in itself, and it's just another great reason to be playing red. So I feel like it just does a lot because we're going to have like huge Regal Bonicorns or Adelines. Giving them Trample just sounds amazing. So that's why it's in there. And then we also have in our 3-drop slot 2 copies of Adeline and 2 copies of Anim Pakal that kind of do the same thing but are different legends. They are slightly different, and Adeline is definitely better against mono red. Anim Pakal, I guess it just isn't that different against other decks, but it does actually work really well with a Ruin Lurker Bat, because one of kind of the downsides is if you aren't able to attack profitably, you can't be making these tokens. But if you have like little 1/1 flyers that can fly for 1 point of damage, you can start growing the number of counters on this, and that can be a great win condition in itself. We also have 3 copies of Imidane's Recruiter, and it was really hard for me to go down to 3 copies. I wanted to do 4, but there's just so many cards here that I want to get in this deck, and I think that this is a great finisher, but against matchups like mono red, it's actually not that great of a card, especially if you're on the back foot, if you're on the draw. So, I think cutting it down to 3, we're going to try it, see how it goes. I feel like you want to see about 1 a game. Now, Sanguine Evangelist is great against mono red because it gives us 2 bodies. And it's also great with like Lunarch Veteran, getting the extra life, which is super great. In addition, it's just an all-around amazing card that replaces itself when it dies. So 3 copies of this as well. And then we have 4 copies of Knight Errant of Eos because this literally finds everything. So instead of running something like, the more common like Brutal Cathar, I wanted Get Lost because of the versatility. This is so amazing because it can deal with planeswalkers, enchantments, creatures, whatever you need, and it has the sort of corner cases where you can also use it to like get the extra points for the win. So all of that said, this is the deck, and let's jump into some games. I haven't had a chance to log almost any games on this deck so far, so really excited to see how it performs. And I'm going to be running this deck in a series here over the next couple videos, so really hoping to give you guys sort of a bigger data set. For me, I definitely, the anecdotal stuff is great, but I want to be able to look at the data and see how is this deck performing against this, different matchups. And the nice thing there is if you can get, a decent number of games, it's not like a huge sample size, but it's better than nothing. And so being able to show you that data to give you guys a really informed way of looking at, is this a deck I actually want to craft, actually want to run, etc. Okay, so opening hand is okay. Yeah, we don't have a 1-drop, but happy to run this. We've got 2 Cavern of Souls, so we can name like human with one of them and I guess rabbit with the other, so why not? Let's do that. Okay, could be, yeah, looks like Esper, probably control. Maybe, could be like Esper Midrange also. So yeah, let's just go ahead and name human with this next one. And we'll have a pretty good idea on the next turn or two, like what type of Esper we're up against. Okay, so here I think we just want to go for a Anim Pakal. Certainly they could have removal, but I guess the other thing is we could try to maybe like wait to get the Anim Pakal going to try to get through their first bit of removal. Maybe we just push like Recruiter here. Yeah. I don't know, I think there's enough upside on Anim Pakal that I want to try to get it going. So I could see doing either one. The nice thing with Recruiter is it's really great at ending the game. So they probably have the removal here, but yeah. The other thing we could have done, I suppose, is just played Bunicorn there and then save the Nipa Call for when they have like shields down. That might have been better.
The weak-minded will be educated in Phyrexian's ways. Our plans are beyond your comprehension.
So here I think we just go, like these recruiters are so great, but I kind of want to go like Inti plus Bunicorn. The problem with Inti plus Bunicorn is if they have temporary lockdown, it's super awkward. So that is a consideration. Recruiter won't be able to kill Jace. Yeah. Let's see, I think just to be safe, we can probably go Cleric here. We've got, that way we can play Evangelist also if we draw it. Although we won't be able to play 2 humans. Yeah, maybe Cleric is okay. I guess this way if we draw into like a Plains or something or another land, we can go for a Recruiter. And I don't really want to pitch either of these yet, so I didn't attack. We could have done like 1 damage to Jace, but I think there's enough reason here to try to hold our Recruiters. So hopefully they don't have temporary lockdown, that'd be pretty awkward. I think that Sanguine Evangelist it's a vampire cleric, I think, right?
No secret escapes my grasp.
So yeah, I think we go for the creating 2 knights. That'll buff up our unicorns here, our bunicorns, and then if they counter it, then they won't have Wandering Emperor up. So either way, I'm happy. Alright, so they did have the counter there. Now, they could have removal here as well. There's a decent chance that they do. But I think we want to send Bunicorn here to face and then Inti to Jace. I don't want to like double cover Jace here. And again, I'm going to hold the Midane's Recruiter. So now we're set up to train troops if they wipe the board. And then if not, we can go for a Recruiter to try to end the game. So opponent is deep in the tank here. They're either trying to slow roll something here or they're just done. By the way, if you're a new person here viewing my channel, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate you. And if you like my content, please consider subscribing, maybe drop out a like or showing it to a friend who might like it. It really does help my channel quite a bit. For all my returning viewers, thank you guys again so much for being here. I appreciate you. Okay, so I think they've got Wandering Emperor. Assuming they do, we can still go Bunicorn plus Recruiter, and that is probably game. So yeah, because I think that the Bunicorns are going to be, what, 6 power each? Yeah, that's got to be game. And that should do it. All right, opening hand looks great. We've got 2 mana, can cast everything. Yeah, got removal. Got a 1-drop, happy to see that. We have Battlefield Forge to be able to play the non-human stuff, so we can go ahead and name human here. Up against Golgari. Cut down or no? Guess not. Probably take Get Lost here, I'm assuming. Yeah. I guess if we care about the life, we can go Mirix this turn, since we'll have... That doesn't really matter, I suppose. Guessing they are not trading. Glissa or no? Virtue? Yeah, I feel like they had that cut down on turn 1 and just like didn't bother doing it, hoping to get a better target. Ooh, a name Bakal is fun. What do we want to do here? Could go like Bunnicorn plus Veteran, and then attack as a 4/4. I suppose that if we played a Neem Pakal, it would also be attacking as a 4/4. And that question is just, do we want to use these instead? Because this is not quite as a mana efficient, but it will be growing our Neem Pakal, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I guess we have the extra attacker. I mean, like, the Bunnicorn would be pretty big. Huh. I guess growing the Neem Pakal actually does seem nice. I'm not sure about which one is correct. Ooh, command is nasty. Alright, so now we just go Veteran plus Bunnicorn. Yeah, we're in kind of a rough spot now, because they can start pushing with Cottage. They're one turn away from getting back Virtue. Okay, Warden is nice. And then I think we do Knight Errant for 3 and can push with Bunnicorn to try to start fighting. Could also hold this back to block their Cottage, but we're on a clock with this deep Cavern Bat, so I think we gotta fight. And then just trade with the Cottage if they want to do that. Okay, there's Virtue. No attacks. I think we kind of, yeah, let's just double reinforcements to make a bunch of guys and a huge Bunnicorn, and then we can start getting this thing into the air. That feels pretty good. Do we want another Scoundrel? I mean, it is 2 tokens. That's actually pretty useful. Yeah, I think we're okay with this. What do they get back next turn? Probably Preacher. Either Preacher or maybe our Adeline. Yeah. Okay, they've still got enough to gain some life here off the food, which is kind of annoying, but that is a thing. Alright, let's tap it like this, and then we'll get an extra card here. I think we want the other card. We could try to gain some life back with this Ruin Lurker Bat, I guess, and make it a 2/2, so that's not nothing. We are pretty low on life, so maybe that's the move. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that. Oh yeah, that's definitely what we want. Okay, so we've got to be a little bit careful because they can push with this. 1, 2, 3. Do we want to tap it? Do we want to pump it again? I don't... Guess we could pump it up one more time, but that does leave us a little bit open. So I think I'm just going to attack as is. And then I think we leave these two back. So we can chump that and chump that. We can take 7. Let's see, if we go to 7. We have a 4/5 also. So this feels a little dicey, but I think we have to be a little bit aggressive here too. Alright, they just go into full chump mode, and yeah, I think we want everything else the way it is. And we're going to leave that there, and that looks good. So they might get back Preacher again here, maybe Adeline. Alright, so now they can activate their cottage, but they don't have enough mana to also... Well, actually, they only get food token when they attack, so that doesn't matter. Okay, so they can activate it. So they basically have 5 blockers. If we push with Recruiter, let's see, what do their blocks look like? They go to 8, they go to 9, 5 blockers, blocks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then they take 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, they're dead. Okay, that works for me. So I guess if they have like another card that could potentially do something different, but I think that they are dead on board. They need like exactly cut down. Oh my god, they've got the cut down. Are you kidding me? Whew, had me scared for a minute there. That was a nice comeback. That definitely felt good after that Gix's command. Opening hand looks great. And I love these Ruin Lurker bats. I think this is a really nice addition to this deck because it gives it that extra lifelink that it just didn't quite have, the extra evasion. So really happy with it. I think we do want to slow down the life loss though, so I'm going to go out with Sokens in here and then play NT. This is such a nice combo too. I mean, oh my god. What do we want to pitch here? I think we want to have access to 3 mana. So maybe we pitch... What are we up against? Jetmir? I think we don't really need this Get Lost right now. So we could pitch that. We're going to get a free scry off the... Oh, wait a second. If we descended... Oh, never mind. It's only if we get a card into the graveyard. Either way, I thought that would trigger Descend, but maybe not. Okay, so let's go ahead and... I think we want to get in with both instead of... I suppose we could go for Knight Errant here, but I kind of just want to bash face. Yeah, maybe we just play Knight Errant instead. Yeah, I guess this is pretty good. Let's get Warden and Reinforcements. So if we assume that they have Sunfall on 5, I'm going to hold off a little bit here. I think I'm going to put this on the Knight Errant in case they like draw into temporary lockdown, which they do have in their deck. So let's put it there. This feels a little bit weird, but we're going to play Immodane's Recruiter after combat. Yeah, Bunicorn is pretty good. I think let's hang on to that. Board wipe or no? That's a no. Okay. So even if they have binding, they can only deal with 2 of our threats. See if they flip this, they just get an extra guy. Yeah, if we throw Recruiter in the way, they have less mana, which I like. I think we want to protect it. So if we send with everything and they don't have binding, what does it look like? If they don't block Knight Errant, see if they want to block Inti, they die, so they have to block Knight Errant. That feels pretty good. And then I think maybe we get rid of Warden, or maybe like one of these Bunicorns. Yeah, actually, they're forced to block Knight Errant, and then we can put it on Knight Errant to make it a 6/6 trample, and they go to 1. I think I want to hang on to the... Well, we've got 2 Bunicorns, so maybe I can get rid of 1 Bunicorn here, since I want to be able to, like, play stuff out if they just, like, board wipe. Okay, so we put the trample here. Force blocks. Ah, they had the binding. That sucks. Oh, that's pretty funny. Okay, so I think we want to get Lost their Stomper to push as much as we can. Question is, do we play Warden? They didn't have board wipe last turn. If they have like a Chroma, or not a Chroma, whatever the hell it's called, Atraxa, I think we go for it. Veteran. I guess if they board wipe, we will have 2 plays next turn. So that's actually okay. It's not amazing, but it works. Another binding. Recruiter is good, but let's see, how much are we pushing? Block, block. Pushing 5 in the air. It's not really enough. I think we just push back and then go for reinforcements and try to like set up a bigger one next turn. Angel number 2 is rough. This is going to be pretty hard to come back from. Yeah, we really needed them to not have that binding that one turn. That was our window, I think. I think we block with Veteran to get it into the air. Let's just do reinforcements again this turn, I think. But yeah, we're pretty much, this might be it now, because they're a little bit too far ahead on life with those Archangels. Let's see. If we just take it, we take 11, 14 down to 4. Is there conceivably any card we could draw that would get us out of it? They'd be at 20. I don't think so. I think that's it, unfortunately. Had our moment, didn't quite get there. This game was interesting though. Like, so if there's, put in the comments if you saw like a different line that we maybe could have taken for this third game. I'd be curious to know, because there were like definitely a couple different decision points that we went, different ways on. And anyways, just if you saw like another line that might have worked, I'd love to have you guys share it with the community, because even though I'm piloting the deck, I definitely don't see all the lines, so would love to hear from you guys. Anyways, thanks guys for watching. Let's take a look at the stats of the deck, and then we will just kind of wrap up real quick. Okay, so I think I had one game before this, before I recorded this, but yeah, currently the deck is 3-1, 75% win rate, 100% win rate on the draw, and only 50% win rate on the play. So that's interesting. But yeah, pretty small sample size. We're going to try to increase it here. But just as a quick overview, 1-0 against blue-white, doing great against control, 1-0 against Dimir. We lost to Selesnya, although I think this is the one we just lost to was the it's showing up as Selesnya here, but I believe it's actually the 5-color Atraxa deck, so domain. And then we won against Golgari. So yeah, overall, pretty happy with the deck. Let's get some more data, and we'll see you for the next one.